Hey guys, Josh with Aim Surplus, and today I have a cool new video for you. So Trijicon just recently released two brand new optics, the RMR HD and the RCR. So we are going to give you just a brief overview of them. This is not a review. We did take these out to the range just yesterday. We put 1,000 rounds through both of them. So we do have a little trigger time behind them. Just about everybody here at AIM is an optics guy, so we have access to all of the dots to compare them to. All right, so let's start with the Trijicon RMR HD. So this is an upgrade to the RMR that everybody knows and loves. It does have a very SRO-esque shape to it because of the hood, but it still keeps that square RMR body that we all know and love with the ears. I'm hoping that because of the shape, that means that it has the same ruggedized body that the RMR is known for. You know, it's a pretty bomb-proof optic. It's not gonna break or shatter very easily. If you do break it, you've tried really hard. Congratulations. Now, the cool thing about this, so there are some features that are huge upgrades, I would say. Number one is the top-loading battery. So the top-loading battery changes the optic from being an annoying battery change and re-zero to just taking off the battery cap and putting a battery in, not having to re-zero the gun. That is such an improvement over the RMR. Just in that, I think that is worth the upgrade already. Secondly, they moved the ambient light sensor. So the light sensor is now in the front, and if you cover it, you can see that it auto-adjusts the brightness of the dot or the reticle you're using based on how much light it can see. So if you're running your optic and you turn on a white light, it's not going to flood out that light. It's not going to bleed over so you can't see it. It should auto adjust, and playing around with it here in the studio, it actually adjusts pretty fast. So we were out, when we were shooting these, we were outside in daylight, so we didn't really get to test the auto dim, but it was in here very responsive. So that's super cool. And then lastly, one of the other big upgrades is they've added a multi-reticle system. So you now have two different size dots and a circle dot option. I think that is great for the new shooter who is trying to find the dot faster. You can run that circle dot option and then pick it up just a little bit faster. And you get guys here who are constantly swapping between their carry optics and their competition guns and stuff like that. You can run a 1 MOA dot for competition and then switch it over to the 3 1/4 dot for carry, or vice versa, whatever your preference is. Some people will probably leave it on the main dot and never change it. Some people will cycle through, but it's nice to have those options, things that you were probably only seeing in Holosun and a few other places to begin with. I will say that the hood raises the optic up a little bit. So on the original RMR, when you would find the dot, I felt like I found it a little bit lower in the optic. With the raised body and the hood, I really feel like I find that dot a little bit faster at the top, which is just a little different, but definitely a plus if you're somebody who sometimes struggles to find the optic. They did give you a little index marker at the top. Don't know that I'd ever use that, just because there are other ways to find your dot and probably better ways, but definitely nice that they included it. It is a feature. Moving on, we do have the RCR. So the RCR is their introduction to enclosed emitter pistol optics. This is really cool because the one that everyone is probably used to is the Acro, and the Acro out of the gate didn't have the best battery life, and it didn't have the common footprint on the mounting system. So if you had a gun and you wanted to run an Acro, you had to use a different mounting. The biggest point to this, selling point, is that it fits in the RMR footprint. As an industry, I wish we would just switch and all use the RMR footprint, swallow our pride. Who cares which cut is really the best? I've got guns cut for everything, and I've never had one fail because of the optic cut. I would love to just have everybody's optic switch over to the RMR, and it's the one that's dominantly out there right now. It just needs to become the industry standard. And then you can see, I think, a lot more different optics come into play. You don't have to run plates, and because you actually don't have to run plates, this can sit a little bit lower in the slide, and you can co-witness with a wider variety of sights. So because this is an RMR footprint, it's really nice. You can just toss it right on the gun and go. They do have these really cool screws that have these little like Allen key holes in them, and you turn them and it mounts a little bit slow, but it keeps you from having to use an adapter plate, and I think that is the biggest selling feature. I will say that we have like the Swamp Fox Kraken and the Acro and a few other enclosed emitters, and I haven't been a huge fan of them. There's always been something that is just a little bit as a downside that makes me not want to spend that kind of money on it. However, this one, this is the first one I've shot that I'm like, man, I can put it right on my slide. It has a good window. It's enclosed. The buttons are nice and big. We did have this come loose while shooting, but we didn't Loctite the screws when we did them. We just torqued them down. I will say that's probably our fault. Normally, if we're going to put an optic on a slide, it is blue Loctited on. But simple fix was just cranking it down a little bit more with extra torque. And then after we torqued it down, it did not come off again, but there was a slight looseness there, which was once again our fault. So I'm gonna put in some footage of us comparing some of the more popular optics. So if you can see, I'll show you guys like the RMR HD next to the RCR, so you can kind of see the window size. And then one of the other cool things is we have so many optics here that you can kind of see everything side by side. So I'm gonna just toss in some B-roll footage of some of the window sizes. It's really hard to show the dots from all of them all at once. So it's just gonna be the glass comparison. But I think that's super cool because, you know, there's things out there allowing like the Hollyson Comp, there's the 508T, the 509T, some of the Krakens, the C&H optics. All these things have different window sizes, different dots, different features. And when you're a consumer buying, you know, what could potentially be anywhere between a $300 and $800 pistol optic, you want to make sure that you're getting all of your options laid out in front of you. I will say that, you know, a ton of people are comparing the RMR HD and the RMR. So here's the RMR versus the RMR HD side by side. I do want to say thanks to Trijicon for sending these guys out. We should have these hopefully mid to late November. Trijicon is actually coming to a roadshow in our building in Monroe, Ohio. So if you are local, stop by, talk to the Trijicon guys. They're going to have these there with every other Trijicon optic you can think of. It's going to be super cool. They're bringing a semi, tons of product, and you can ask them questions, see these things in person before they start actually shipping them. But other than that, thank you guys. If you stayed this long, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Make sure to like and subscribe, do all the fun YouTube stuff. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you in the next one.